2017. This is MMA Junkie Radio pre-show, and you're going to get to see a little thing that we do behind the scenes. Rob Font's in studio, by the way. Rob, say hi.
What's going on, guys?
Can you hear him okay, Danny?
I can.
All right.
What's up, Danny? What's up, Danny?
Not too much. How's it going?
I'm all right, man.
How are his levels, Danny? Do you need me to turn them up at all or anything?
Can you count to 10 real quick?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Looks good.
All right, looks like we're good. Hopefully that mic works the whole. Rob, if for some reason I make this motion to you, it just means smack the hell out of your mic. 'Cause for some reason it's been giving us some trouble.
Bow, bow.
You're good at smacking people, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Trying to get that Stockton down, man.
Rob had a good fight this weekend, man. Danny, you have the guest list. You have the times. You don't have numbers, though, right?
I do not.
All right, I'll let George send those to you.
Oh, thanks.
Well, because I know I have Tony. So today, by the way, our guests are Tony Ferguson,
Oh, nice.
Brian Butler, and Jason House, your two managers.
Jason House is coming by?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not good?
Nah, it's my man.
Okay.
Yeah, he helps. He works with me.
You never know.
Oh, that's perfect. But I can only stay till like 11.
11?
Cool?
Okay, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, my
He gets here at 11, though.
Who, Jason?
Yeah.
I probably stay a little longer then.
Okay.
Nah, but I'm thinking about 11, and then
Coming up in a minute.
What do you got going on?
My
sister?
My sister just got married, engaged yesterday. So
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with her. Then we got the Contender show. Got Rebello
We're gonna
fighting.
go to that,
So
yeah.
you guys going?
Yeah.
Nice.
The your sister getting engaged though, she kind of took your thunder away, man.
Yeah, no.
What's up with that?
He did.
You didn't tap her on the shoulder. You couldn't wait a week.
Nah, but it was funny because my brother-in-law
30.
called me like 2 weeks ago. I was like, hey, I'm gonna ask your sister to marry me after your fight. I'm like, shit, I just put the pressure on me now. Like, I gotta win now. You know?
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
What's going on? What's going on, man? How you doing, Rob? How you doing?
Anthony Rob.
Yes, sir. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. How you feeling?
I'm all right. I'm a little sore, but I'm good. What's going on, brother? Thank you.
George, we got
Hi,
about
guys.
10 seconds.
Coming up at 10. Stand by.
King of the Street Fights is in the house.
I just got mad Street Fight stories.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is gonna be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Go. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me as always is the devious and dastardly Goes, Ari's co-host.
The only Goes that matters.
Geest, he's handling all the producing duties. It's Danny. Sitting to my right, we got another panel. To my far right, we got Anthony Birchak, who's going to be fighting at Ryzen FF, the Bantamweight Grand Prix in Japan on July 30th. Welcome back, Anthony.
What's going on, guys?
How you doing? And, of course, to my right is Rob Font, UFC Bantamweight, coming off a big win over, oh, my God, I'm not going to go through all of his names.
That's a long last
name.
Andrade
is his last name. But congratulations this past Saturday at UFC
Appreciate
213.
it, man. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, so good to have you both here in studio because I like these panels where we can talk about the latest news and just get the thoughts of the athletes that occupy these rings, these cages, these octagons, these decagons. You know what I mean. So you know what hasn't rubbed off yet is the whole Nunes and Shevchenko talk. Just to get your quick thoughts on that, because that's what dominated our show yesterday. Even though we had a new interim middleweight champion, even though the Reem might be up next for a world title, even though Gagey had a great debut, the phones were blowing up. King Mo was sitting in this seat. Laura Sanko, UFC Fox Sports reporter, was sitting in that seat. And we just kept talking Nunes, Shevchenko. Mostly on Nunes, what she did, what she should have done. Your quick thoughts on that, Rob?
I just feel bad for Shevchenko. You know, you got a title shot. You don't find out to the next day or the day of. I know how it feels. That happened to me in London, you know, and that's got to be horrifying, man. Train so hard. You think you got a title shot, and then the opponent pulls. But, you know, hopefully Amanda's fine. And did we find out exactly what was wrong with her?
Sinusitis. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right.
Chronic sinusitis, yeah.
So what is that?
It's just a sinus infection.
Inflammation of the sinus, basically.
Really? Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Now, she said she had been battling it all week, but I guess Saturday was just bad, and she decided not to fight.
Yeah.
The problem is the UFC came forward with a statement earlier in which Dana White, who was asked by many media what happened to Amanda, said, you know, we took her to the hospital Friday, we took her to the hospital Saturday, the doctor cleared her, she didn't want to fight. He didn't really give her side and what her reasons were. She did it in a statement 24 hours later. So, of course, what happened was a lot of people just basically felt like she lost her nerve, you know, and just maybe got anxiety.
I doubt that. She's a killer. She's a beast.
Yeah.
I doubt that. She must have been really hurting, so I wouldn't say she...
Well, others said she should have toughed it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, I have a deviated septum, and I get, you know, sinus infections all the time. And I mean, if you guys have ever had allergies, you know how the sinus cavity just builds up. You feel like you have a huge head. You know, I mean, I'm sure she was mass amounts of pressure on her face. But you know, again, I'm gonna take some Claritin, and I'm gonna keep it rolling. You know,
you think in her situation, without knowing the degree to it, you think you would have marched forward and...
Yeah, you know, I mean, I've been in situations where, in Las Vegas specifically, there's different desert plants in Arizona, different desert plants out here, where I was literally on the bottom of the shower.
Just got legalized?
No.
Oh, other one.
My
Okay.
God.
Just want to get clarification.
You know, I'm just saying, I've been on the bottom of the shower with the hot water, you know, pouring out, trying to drain out before a competition, and it's very, very uncomfortable. At the same time, I still competed that next day, you know, and it's just you know, aside from USADA and having like the TUE for whatever kind of sinus medicine that she would have needed, you know, like it should have went on.
Well, what do you think, Rob? Would you have showed up to the dance, or?
I personally would have, but you know.
And a few other fighters have said the same thing. Dominic Cruz, Michael Bisping on the Fox pre-fight show said it. Ben Askren, who's a world champion, former world champion at Bellator, current world champion at One Championship, he said the same thing. But other fighters like King Mo, who was a guest of ours yesterday, said, I understand. You know, if you're not 100 and you got your world title, you may not.
You do have a lot riding on the line. You got a title shot. Saying that now, but I don't have the belt, you know, so it could be a different story with the belt in hand and knowing what it was and knowing how she really felt, you know. But
well, how would you feel if someone beat you and you knew you were not at your best, but yet felt forced to compete, you know, just to sell tickets, just to make money for someone else's pocket?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough spot to be in, you know. But then again, like the fighter in me is like, nah, man, forget it. Let's just go ahead and do it, you know. But it is a tough spot.
And she didn't get paid either, though. I'm pretty sure money went in her pocket.
No, exactly.
I'm pretty sure she had a manager, her girlfriend, a family member telling her to stop. So it's a lot of pressure. But yeah, you know, I can't wait for the rematch. I mean, to see the fight though. Like I was looking forward for that.
Has it been rescheduled?
It's going to.
Yeah, actually, bout agreements were given to both, and Shevchenko's already signed September 9th, UFC 215 in Edmonton, Canada.
Oh, wonderful.
So we haven't heard that Nunes is officially signed, but Nunes' statement led us to believe that this should get sorted out and settled soon. So soon to me is about 2 months, September 9th, close enough.
I think when something like this happens, the first thing you do is you look at that person's character. And like you mentioned, everything she's done to this point would lead me to believe that she's not afraid.
Yeah.
So if she would have maybe done this in the past or something, but even then, man, if a person's saying they don't feel well, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Today, there's a 4-day press tour for Maymac, hashtag Maymac.
Oh my God.
And
it's gonna be intense. Arenas are sold out, or at least the first one is, and I believe Brooklyn is. I'm not sure about Toronto and London, but arenas are sold out just to see these two chirp at each other.
Yeah.
We also heard that it's going to cost you $99.99 to watch the fight in HD, $89.95 for those that are still using VHS tapes and still have standard definition.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but that's right in line with the Floyd versus Pacquiao, and so they're touring and they're basically promoting. You know, they'll do the private jet stuff and just hit city after city after city. It's 4 in a row. They're knocking it out. What do you think of this spectacle, Anthony?
Man, you know, this is going to be one of those things where two mouths go at it. You know, but Mayweather's not that bright. You know, I think Conor's got him in that quick wit and intellectual, you know, responses and stuff like that. And I'm sure he comes in, you know, very well prepared on what he wants to attack Mayweather with verbally.
Yeah. He already started in on him too. With,
you know what I mean? But think about what he did to Aldo, snatching the belt and, like, you know, making it actually a physical thing as well and crossing physical boundaries. You know, this is gonna be crazy.
It is.
Once this fight got signed, I wasn't even worried about the fight. I was just worried about the pre-fight hype. I was like, it's gonna be intense. It's gonna be cars, planes, females, money thrown everywhere. It's gonna be fun. Yeah.
Do you guys? Do you almost feel like because you're MMA guys, you have to root for Conor?
Not really. I don't.
So who are you guys rooting for the night of?
You know, I'm an old school Mayweather fan. I've been watching him forever.
I want to see him. I want to see him hit 50-0.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, but
so you're both rooting for Mayweather.
Well, that's the thing. Like this fight, so it's going to be entertaining. I think Conor has his chance in the 4th round. I mean, 1 through 4. After that, he's going to be Mayweather's going to play a defensive fight and outpoint him, tie him up, move, outpoint him, tie him up, move. But then again, it's a fight. You know, anything can happen. This is not like he's not going in a 3-point contest with like Curry or something like that. You can't get lucky doing that. You can get lucky in a fight. You know, I've slipped and accidentally hit people as an amateur in one fights. You know, so anything can happen. So that's what I think. That's what people are paying for is that first 4 rounds. Like hopefully Mayweather puts the hands on him, and McGregor puts the hands on him, and we see the shock. But Mayweather's too smart. He's not gonna
Officially though, you're cheering for Mayweather that night.
I'm not saying I'm cheering for anybody. I'm cheering for that countdown show. I'm excited for that countdown show.
Once that goes by, then what happens on fight night?
I just want to see, a great fight. But I'm not saying I'm.
But who do you hope wins?
Nobody really, man.
Nobody?
It's a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one.
You want the draw?
That'd be awesome.
I'm looking at it from a point of view.
We'll let Rob sit on the fence up there. Anthony, how about you?
I'm looking at it from a point of view. What does it do for each sport? What does it do for boxing? What does it do for MMA? If Conor beats Mayweather, right? This shows that we are truly the superior fighters because we can now go into your realm and do what you do, not proficiently, but excellent, right? Because Mayweather is excellence.
Yep.
Right. So now we can go in there and do that. And I say we as MMA, when it's really Conor. And
I think a lot would depend on if he outboxed him or if he got the lucky punch.
Yeah, and what does it do for boxing, right? Does it put MMA in a grave? Does it put us in the back seat for right now, saying like, sit down, little boy, you guys still got a little bit of something to learn. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because the best boxers in the world have tried to hit Mayweather. The best boxers in the world, right? But the old saying goes is the best swordsman does not fear the second best swordsman. He fears the guy who's never wielded a sword in his life, who has no idea of technique, right? And that's where the puncher's chance comes in.
Who will you be rooting for that night?
Man, I'm gonna go for Mayweather.
Mayweather. Okay, and goes.
I'm not gonna be.
That was some Game of Thrones shit. What did you say just now? The best what?
The best swordsman does not fear the second best swordsman in the world. Right?
Tweet that.
He fears the guy who's never wielded a sword before.
That's pretty tight. I like that.
I don't know who said it, but we've all sparred with that guy who doesn't react like slip my jab. No, slip it the wrong way and throws the right hand and hits me. I was like, no, you're not supposed to do that. And they're like, well, I hit you. Yeah, but you didn't do it right. You didn't do it right, man. We're not playing the game right.
By the book.
That night, I think I'm rooting for Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
I like that. I appreciate an MMA guy going there and trying boxing, but I don't want the worlds to get flipped upside down.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? I think the fight really actually starts today, and the part that I'm most interested in starts now, and that's the presser. But like you said, some of the best fighters in the world have tried to hit Mayweather, and they've been unsuccessful. What a lot of people don't realize is a lot of people have tried to trash to Mayweather as well, and it's never affected him. And I think Conor's going in with the mentality of I'm going to get in that guy's head, and all that guy has proven is how many times people have failed at that.
All right, I'll say this. I don't think Conor has – I didn't give him any shot about a week ago. And then somebody told me, well, didn't the U.S. beat Russia in 1980? You know, these were like college kids beating a professional team, and Buster over Tyson, and, you know, other fights and other games where you just thought, wow, it's not going to go down. So I will give Conor that there is a chance. But then I started thinking, I saw Showtime come out with their, Showtime Sports come out with their preview. So I tweeted it, and in that I said, I'm kind of talking more to my general family and friends on Facebook rather than hardcore fans. So in that I actually said, here's a preview. It all goes down, but here's a preview of the upcoming fight. Will you be cheering for, I think I said our guy or the boxer? And a few people who have heard the show before told me, wait a minute, I thought you were saying he has no chance, this, that, whatever. So I want to clarify. He is our guy in the sense that I cover MMA, and MMA is my sport. I've been a boxing fan for many years, but that's about it. I mean, I'm not really involved in it. MMA is something I'm involved in. But I started thinking, no matter what I'm saying, that night I will be cheering for Conor to pull the upset. Because I don't mind being wrong. You know, so if I come back and people go, I thought you said he didn't have a chance. Well, fuck, he hit him. He did it. I mean, it's a miracle. Let's celebrate that more than anything. I think I have enough facts of all the failures, like Canelo and Zab Judah and Oscar De La Hoya and Manny Pacquiao, and the list goes on and on.
Well, let's look at.
But that night, I started thinking, I will be cheering for McGregor because I am not going to bet Mayweather. I'm not going to put 700 to win 100. You know, I just don't have 700 to spare. But I will put $20 on McGregor, and I think that pays me about 100. So I can lose 20. But more than anything, here's a quick tip. Let me sidetrack for a second. Don't bet McGregor to win the decision. Bet him by TKO.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you'll get an even increased odd from there.
Do they even have an odd for that for him?
Well, there it is right there. If he wins the fight, plus 450. But I think that covers TKO, disqualification.
But is there one just for decision?
No, there's one just for TKO. I think. Yeah, I think you get an
decision would be astronomical.
And maybe pick around, like Rob said. You know, maybe pick $10 on rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then after that, you know, those will give you probably like 20 to 1 odds or whatever.
Oh man,
he's just not going to decision them. Yeah. So anyway, but I do want to be clear. I will be cheering for McGregor. I just don't think he has much of a chance. What it'll do for boxing, if he doesn't finish McGregor, I think a lot of people are going to come at him hard. You know, that should not be your 50-0 fight. That shouldn't be what breaks the record. Yeah. But regardless, it's going to be because it's been sanctioned like that by the NSAC. But I think people are going to give him a lot of flack for not finishing a guy that's 0-0.
Yeah, you should. And, as well, he should.
And if McGregor gets to 12 rounds, I think he should be pretty damn proud of himself. Yeah. So we'll see. I think McGregor
winning itself.
I think Mayweather will figure him out pretty quickly, and I just don't see it going past 4 or 6 rounds. I think at some point, shots to the body, the speed.
I told you 8 through 10, 8, 9, and 10 is where Mayweather's going to really put precision on him and make him pay.
That said, you two, you were on the fence. You're out of this one, but you two did commit to Mayweather. So if McGregor wins, you guys can't be going, "What's up, MMA?"
No,
right? You had your chance.
But here, we just said it, right? So if I put money on, I'm not betting. I'm gonna bet on Conor because I could win money, and I'm gonna root for Mayweather because it's what should happen. You know, what kind of fighter?
I just think there's a line here. Boxing, MMA.
Yeah, of course.
Even if a boxer comes in and finishes off an MMA guy.
And that happened before. It happened. Ray Mercer.
Yeah,
I still don't think they can go, "What's up, boxing?" claim because you need to be more of a sample size. There's different types of fighters.
Yeah. We're not going to get that, though. I mean, these are rare. Like, that was one. I wouldn't James really Toney and Randy Couture was one. And then this is another one. James Toney, Randy Couture has to be at least 5, 6, 7 years old. It was in your hometown.
I was in Boston. Yeah,
it was in your hometown. So we're not going to get those, these opportunities often. But I guess we might as well be clear about what side are you on.
I think they just need to do a best 2 out of 3. Conor needs to box him. Mayweather needs the MMA, and then they need to go play like Parcheesi or something and see what you know what I mean. Like who's really the athlete?
I bet you Conor mentions that. He says he's said it before, so it's not like I'm a revelation here. But he will mention today. I'm going into your territory, but you know what would happen if you come into mine. But he'll add a third caveat to all this. He'll say,
Yeah, of course.
But what would happen if we met in the streets? You know, the ring, the octagon. Well, what would happen in the streets? You know, so I think he's got a few lines prepared. He's already working on them off the taxes. Did you guys hear that? Yeah. Mayweather is trying to negotiate with the tax man. I think he's not saying he doesn't know, but what he's saying is, can you wait about a month and a half, and then I'll write you that check.
How do you get to that point? 49 fights into your career. How do you end up there? I just don't get that.
I don't know. Good question. And he's coming off not. What was the last fight? Berto, right? But before that was Pacquiao.
Yeah.
At least a $200,000 check.
That was a big one.
Yeah.
I remember there was a what was it, $60 million fight versus Pacquiao, the first one?
It would be interesting if McGregor said, you know what, I'm going to defend my title. Why don't we get this in about 6 months and just really cave in Mayweather's world
ice him.
Exactly.
Yeah, ice him like a kicker, right? In football.
You say, you know what? Time out. Ferguson's been wanting some or whatever, or Nurmagomedov, whoever they decide. I think I'm going to do this, and let's just keep this on ice and chill for a while and circle back, next Cinco de Mayo weekend.
Oh, man,
like
that would be
God.
but that's a hell of a move to play around with something that.
There's too much money on the line. There's way too much money on the line. People won't let that happen.
There is, yeah.
People won't let Dana won't let that happen.
Crazy stuff. People have been asking me about a spinning back fist, and just to make sure I looked up, that can't happen. A Superman punch I was asked about, that can happen. You cannot throw a leg kick, obviously. I would believe that you may get a stern warning / point deduction, but I don't think the ref would disqualify him on the first one. Mm-hmm. You can feint though, like you're gonna. Anyway. I've been trying to look up as questions come in regarding.
So feints are not out of the question.
He can fake a knee.
You can feint almost like the motion, like if you were gonna do it, but it all depends on
get a warning though,
on the degree of the feint.
Well, I mean, obviously, if your foot comes off the canvas and it looks like a kick, then yeah. But if you turn your hip over, that could be a punch.
Right. I would imagine almost like baseball. Like if you cross the plate,
yeah.
And that's an official swing.
100%.
So that all probably has been defined behind the scenes. I was told it'll depend a lot on the referee. How this works out. Same thing with mixing it up against the ropes. Obviously, you MMA fighters have a lot of tricks up your sleeve when you guys are clinched up. Whereas boxers, it's more of a hold and there's some pairing, and then obviously the referee comes in. But it'll be interesting to see if McGregor takes any of the Ortiz tactics. Throw on the shoulder, put that head in there.
Dirty boxing, yeah.
So, but Mayweather is street, man. He'll be expecting all this. So I can't wait to dive into it. But the first one is today at 2:30 p.m.
Where's that at?
It's in L.A. at Staples Center. It's sold out, and I would imagine it'll probably. What do you do, by the way, if you're Mayweather and McGregor? They both like to keep the house or the party. It doesn't get started till they walk in, but who's going to wait the longest?
Oh, my God. They're going to be
how's this going to work
4 hours late.
Exactly.
4 hours late.
Going to walk in late.
4 hours late, man. The entrance.
Mayweather's going to come in with the helicopter.
Hey, if you don't mind me diving into your personal life,
that's a good question.
You two as athletes, how do you worry about your taxes? Is that just somebody else's responsibility?
What are taxes? I'm just kidding. I wish I had a legitimate, like you say he called the tax man. I want the tax man direct number. Mm-hmm. Like I want to get on Mayweather's level where he has the tax man's direct number.
The debt. He just says, "Can you wait till this date?" And the tax man, I believe, wants to.
No, I mean I filed my taxes, on the 15th like everybody, and as an athlete, we're able to write off certain expenses. So I got to really look at everything that I've done, purchased, and training equipment, food, everything. Literally can write off like 30% of your diet, I believe. Yeah. So it's important to make sure that you get that taken care of. And I believe it was at one of the UFC summits where they're like, pay your taxes. Pay your taxes.
Yeah. I try to do it quarterly. Right when I get the check, write it off, and then pay the man, and then go from that way. And then towards the end of the year, we like you said, get all the write-ups, and then
as independent contractors, we do it quarterly too. Yeah. I do it quarterly up until this past year when Goes did his, and your tax person told you that there's really not that severe of a penalty.
It's like I think it's $50 or something like that. But what I told her was, well, what if I die? Then I just gave the tax man all that money that I could have left for him. Yeah. So I just take the penalty and
just pay it at the end of the year. So this time I haven't been sending my quarterlies, but for the last 3-4 years I've been pretty much on time. If anything, ahead of the schedule. But yeah, if it's not that much of a penalty, I think I'm just gonna hang on to it and then deal with it at the very end, because I've gotten pretty disciplined about knowing where I'm going to reside with this. But it's just a shocker to me how,
Guy with that much money still dealing with tax problems.
Yeah, I mean, a
have
good
like
accountant
two
will sit with you for an hour and just map it out and say, these are the dates, this is what we're expecting.
That's just apathy, though. You know what I mean? It's just being lazy, I feel, because you got to deal with all that money. You got to.
Yeah.
It's got to be a headache, though, with that much money. I know I get mad dealing with the little money I make, so imagine all that money. It'd probably be the same way.
Wasn't the Pacquiao check at least $200 million?
At least, dude.
Was it, or 300? 300 million.
I think 200 is a safe number, but if you tie in everything else that comes along, and we don't.
I don't even know what to do with that much money.
Well, I would.
I don't.
You do?
Exactly. Dude.
What would you do?
Billions of dollars. I'll spend them. I'll find a way.
You will?
Yeah.
Okay. You strike me more as a saver than a spender.
Yeah, but if I got that kind of money, I mean, you're just
okay. So give me 5 expenditures you'd.
All right. Well, I told you, when you become a millionaire, people have hobbies, right? They buy cars, stuff like that, collections, baseball card collections, whatever. My collection would be, I would buy houses from movies, like the Home Alone house.
Oh,
mine
snap!
now. Nightmare on Elm Street house, that's mine. And I would tell girls, you want to go party at the Home Alone house? Let's get our jet. And I'd fly to the Home Alone house.
So you have a jet.
Like
you have a jet too.
So
I got a jet.
Okay.
A couple of movie houses.
Yeah. That would be my collection of buying houses.
Well, the real estate I like,
keep them just
the
like
jet
in the movie.
Depreciates, and like from what I heard is,
well, between
Vegas,
you and I probably rent the jet, but she don't gotta know that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Vegas to like Orlando or just the East Coast is about a $50,000 trip
in a private jet.
So my question to you is, do you just fork that out, or do you just take the first class for $5,000?
Nah, you fork it out, man.
Fork it out,
especially when you're getting KO the night bonuses like Mr. Font here. Shoot, you just just drop a stat and just say, take me there.
If I had the Paris Hilton life where I was born into wealth, I'd probably say that as well. But because there was a struggle, I just couldn't do it with family and friends that still kind of grind and stuff like that, and me just piss away money,
No, but we were talking about how, like, there's bottles in some of these clubs that are, $100,000 bottles of champagne, and it's like, I don't even care what kind of stupid money I got.
That's just too much.
I was just raised not to spend like that. Yeah. I was just raised not to spend like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I probably still do the first class. I'm not gonna lie.
Not to pick on her or anything, but do you remember when Carla Esparza won the
Sunday
belt, and she said she wanted the Sunday or whatever, and she went and spent $1,000 on a Sunday in New York? Good for her, man. I mean, again, not trying to hit on her, but then she put herself in a position where there was an injury or the fights weren't coming, and next thing you know, she was trying to sell something from the reality show, right? Or
yeah,
I think it's her Harley. Her Harley.
Yeah. And so she took a lot of grief for that, like,
There's a rule on that, though.
Granted, that's not.
It's got to be a certain amount of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, there might be. Yeah.
Can we say who messed that up? I think I remember who messed that up.
If you want.
Wasn't it Uriah Faber that went out and said, "I'm going to sell this right away," and I think they changed the contract the following year, right?
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a holding period. But my point is, there's been Tyson's gone through all his money before, and then on a smaller scale, you've seen obviously Carla experience some tough times. So I just can't piss
Hammer,
away that
man,
guy.
Hammer. Oh God,
MC Hammer.
Poor MC Hammer.
Yeah, that's why I just couldn't do the here's 50 to travel across. I just give me the first give me the business class of the first.
Yeah.
What am I saying? First
50,000
round.
to fly.
First class. Yeah.
Is that like 5 hours?
Something like that. Yeah. And to buy the damn jet is like 20, 30 million. And it's just parked most of the time.
You gotta every time you press start, it's like 50,000.
I guess that's a good way of looking at it. What are you gonna do with your money? You treat yourself to anything? Just
Not really, man. Not really.
You got
I want
kids?
to see her face.
No.
You don't got no kids?
No, it's really just going to her.
Yeah.
Her, my mom, her mom.
So let me tell you what was going on, because when you asked that question, I looked out, and it was like this. She was looking at her phone, and then she did this.
What? I can answer that for you.
Amazon wish list?
Yeah.
She's already killing me.
No,
obviously, first we're gonna obviously call Brad Smuggler, pay the taxes on that, and then look to either get a condo, a house, something like that, or
there you go.
But nothing crazy. Definitely not gonna get $1,000 Sunday, but
if I got a $50,000 bonus, there's a watch that I've been looking at upstairs. It's 4. I think I can get it down to 3. But I feel like I've earned it because the last nice watch that I bought, this one was given to me, but the last nice watch that I bought was a good 10, 15 years. So I've been staring at that damn thing for a few years now. I walk by it a lot, but I know that the rest would probably go to the bank. But I do want, that's the one thing I want to treat myself to if I ever get like a nice jolt of cash.
I think the biggest thing that fighters need to understand is diversify themselves in investments. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, to build wealth, you need residual income, right? And I think a lot, even just a little bit, buy a food truck.
Something coming in always is huge.
Buy a food truck. That's booming right now. That's something I want to do. I got 2 people out of my gym that can cook crazy, and they have degrees in from the Art Institute or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I would just give you a food truck. If I win this Grand Prix, I'm gonna buy a food truck, be an investor, you cook it, run it, and just sit back and collect a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's like the easiest income. It's a cash only business. It's I think simple stuff like that gets overlooked a lot of the times.
Yeah. What kind of food?
Oh, he's got like a fit prep company. His name's Jason Feed Your Face on Instagram, Jason Feed Your Face on Instagram, and he does all my meal prep and stuff. And I was like, what are you doing, man? And he's like, I live in this apartment with a friend and my son, and I was just like, man, if we could, not only accomplish my dreams, but yours in the process of getting you a restaurant or a storefront where you can cook food for other people, which I think is super important because his food's just amazing, and I'm a big foodie. I think something like that would be amazing, or a poke truck in Tucson would kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give him some money.
We get tons of Pacific Islanders going to the University of Arizona for football. And there's like 1 or 2 Hawaiian spots in town, but they don't do what I want to do, and I think if, Rob would take, 20 G's and buy a truck, you know what I mean? What's your investment percent? What's your ROI? What's your return on investment on that? And that's, 60-40, 70-30, you just got to figure stuff like that out. But I think
I like that 70-30.
I think, exactly, 70-30, I'll give you a truck, you run it and just give me money.
You want the 70 or the 30?
It wouldn't matter.
Yeah, it would.
So somebody that's running the truck is I think keeping the 70, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And you're getting your 30.
For sure. Because think about it. If I have 5 food trucks out there, every fight I buy a food truck. You know what I mean? Now I have 5 food trucks at 30%. That's a lot of money.
You see Galicchio on the reality show?
I love that guy.
He does the candies, right?
Mm-hmm. The candy machines.
Candy machines. Yeah. But I appreciated his hustle. Even though it doesn't look like there's a lot of money, unless you really have this huge network of them, I just appreciated his hustle, his honesty, him opening his life out.
That's a cash business, man.
I was rooting for him in this reality show, man. I wanted, I couldn't believe he got past Gordon for sure. But, he made it to the semis. Tough guy, fun guy. I think eventually he'll be a 45er or a 55er, even though he lost to Krause at 70 the other day. But, I just respect him for, trying to make something, do something positive with his money.
Absolutely.
It's funny the way this show works. People are already on your idea. This guy from Hawaii says, Birchak knows what's up. I know a lot of Hawaiian peeps in Arizona.
Yeah, see? You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't understand there's Mexicans and then there's Hawaiian people in the desert for whatever reason. What's Las Vegas called? The 9th island?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's tons of them. And there's a desert. Why? Why are you here?
Makes no sense.
What is your favorite food?
Mexican food.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You're a foodie. Give me a good spot in Vegas to go to.
Good spot in Vegas. Izakaya Go in Chinatown. It's got
a Mexican restaurant?
No, this is a sushi and ramen spot.
All right, give me a good Mexican restaurant.
Good Mexican restaurant I've had here, Taco El Gordo on Charleston. Not the one at the end of the strip, the one in the hood on Charleston.
All right, so we got to go far. Then.
Yeah.
We got to write that down.
It's amazing. Best tacos I've ever had.
Why is that on the strip bad?
It's on the strip. Both of them are packed. It's ridiculous. But if you go to the one on Charleston, that one, I go to the short line. It's all the meats that no one wants, like tripas, like the milk gut and lengua, tongue. So my line's short, but the carne asada line is out the door around the block. The adobada line's out the door around the block. And I sat down and ate twice before 2 of the homies went through the whole line.
Well, I'll tell you what. We went with you to that place. The last words you'd hear from us is, see you in about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm fucking eating.
No. And then there's, if I want carne asada, I'm going to make you get my order, and then I order and then we kind of we just order each other's food.
Yeah,
So.
I don't know about tripas and tacos de
Oh,
cabeza.
dude, tripas are the best.
Velasquez loves tacos de cabeza.
Yeah, but did you see
And
Cain Velasquez?
Man, I ain't trying to taste something that could taste me back.
Cain Velasquez just got he got Chipotle. He got that black card.
Oh, he got diarrhea.
Like that Black American Express.
Black card for Chipotle.
Yeah, the one that says like, "Hey, you're basically hooked up anytime you want to come in."
What?
So on his
But is
Twitter,
it? But is
it
the
happened last
guac
week.
included? But is the guac included?
Sure
That's
is.
the question, man.
It was funny because
Is the
everybody was
guac.
co-signing. What about me? What about me? And Chipotle checked them back. So when you got as many followers as Kane, talk to us.
Damn.
So I had a little strategy. I was gonna look for the last time he was in studio. Kind of like we're taking a picture and just maybe throwing him up there, throwing some sort of a little plug for the show and
Throw in the.
I like Chipotle personally.
Chipotle's the shit. That thing that instructional thing that it became a meme. I don't know if you know that.
Did
the
it?
Chipotle meme. So throw that in there too and go. Look, we've been talking about this shit for a long time.
Yeah,
It's meant to be.
Yeah. What about you? What's your favorite food, Rob?
I like Italian.
Italian.
Yeah, Italian.
What's your go-to dish?
Chicken parm, basic.
That's pretty good.
Basic. I don't know what it is. That chicken, that sauce, man, just kills me every single time.
Can you cook your own food? Can you cook Italian food? No.
No,
You cook food at all?
Breakfast. I'm decent at breakfast, but besides that,
Like a bowl of cereal or the actual like eggs?
I can put the eggs,
potatoes,
put
bacon,
it all together. But
can you cook, Anthony?
Yeah, I cook. I between me and my wife and the 4 kids, I think I cook more than anything. I kind of just let her take the back seat and relax, and I get in the kitchen, chop it up.
Good man.
Yeah. Are you a barbecuer?
My friends will roast me because I don't know if you've seen that meme where it's like, man, I throw it down on the grill and it's like all black hot dogs and black meat, and they're like, you need to learn how to pick it up too. Like that's me. I burn it. It's called the Birchar.
The Birchak.
It's called the Birchar. you need a little Birchar. Yeah.
I like it.
Hey, if you ever want to play a prank on your buddies with hot dogs on the grill,
Yeah.
take a hot dog and just take a Sharpie and draw the lines on it. And give it to 'em, and they won't know. And then when they eat it, just show them the video. Go, "Look what I did."
The Sharpie.
I feel like that's a good way to poison your friends.
When it's done, you don't put it before and then put it on the grill. When it's done, just take the Sharpie and just draw the line over it like that. They'll eat it. They won't know.
Poisonous, no?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, are you poisoning your friends,
Still
Ghost?
alive.
You're just poisoning people.
Just slowly,
Yeah. I mean, that's
slowly
like
poisoning
someone
people.
lick a Sharpie.
Dude, how big do you think a hot dog is? It's just like the line like that. It's like 3 lines.
It's a little bit of poison.
Notes going in not to eat at Ghost's house.
I mean, you know Tommy. He's still alive. He's eating like 12 of those.
Wow. Damn. On today's show, we're also going to have Tony Ferguson. We'll talk to him about who he wants next. Gagey's trying to saddle up next to him a little bit. Habib, of course, wants his, and Dana wants Habib to maybe fight Ferguson. Why? I don't know. And I hate saying that because I don't want to piss that Russian off. Look, he's undefeated. He's legit. But he had his chance. Things didn't go right. I feel like the rest of the division's kind of like moving on, Like Kevin Lee wants a shot at Tony Ferguson. So if they run it back, great. But isn't that almost the same position that he's in with like Amanda? Like he's telling Amanda, you can't headline again. Now, it's not that he's telling Habib, you can't headline, but there's trepidation there about rebooking them because of the weight issue. Who knows? Supposedly Habib's going to come to the Performance Institute, work with dietitians here, and get it all in order. And it's not like I don't want to see that fight, but Lee and Gagey had some great fights this past, over the summer. Also, Edson Barbosa's another guy that wants a piece of Tony Ferguson. So that division's starting to heat up. Tony will join us on the show. Brian Butler, one of the best managers in the sport, he'll join us as well. Jason House, another one of the top managers in the sport, he'll join us. So we have a fun show ahead of us. And we have 2 fighters here, 2 bantamweights in studio here with us, Anthony Birchak and Rob Font. Let's get this first break out of the way. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93. Stay close.
Yo, this thing.
Yeah, you. Can you please tap that rather large fellow on the shoulder and tell him it's time for more MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes? Thank you.
The countdown to NFL training camp is underway. Stay tuned on SiriusXM NFL Radio throughout the summer for the latest on all 32 teams as they get set for the 2017 season. The only place to hear 24/7 coverage of the National Football League is SiriusXM, NFL Radio, Channel 88, and on the SiriusXM app. Arizona Cardinals?
Yeah, I like
New
it.
England Patriots?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
all right.
I'm
Hardcore or just
I'm actually a Giants fan.
Giants fan?
Yeah.
My brother's a Giants fan.
Yeah.
All right.
He's a Giants fan.
What happened there? Did you have any history?
Yeah, I had a stepdad growing up that got me, you know,
Onto the Giants.
like it was like when Jason Sehorn was there and Jeremy Shockey. Like I've been following for a while now.
But so the Cardinals aren't your team?
No, they're not my team, but I do support them. I like them a lot.
Yeah, they got a nice stadium.
Yeah, it's huge. It's amazing.
I like it. Closes and the field comes out.
I honestly want to see a UFC event at Phoenix Stadium.
Yeah, it's tight.
Yeah.
I like it. We're building a new stadium here pretty soon.
Where's that going at? At the end of Tropicana,
Actually,
right?
right across
the street
from
from
Mandalay
us.
Bay on the other side of the freeway that divides.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Get the
It's coming up.
Raiders.
Rob
The Raiders,
Font. Yes, sir. Yeah, it looks that way. But you never know with those guys, man. Those guys are always wheeling and dealing and hustling. When I lived in California, there was a deal for them to go to Irwindale, some small little city, suburb outside of L.A. They took $20 million from that city. 'Cause all they did was miss the deadline on something. And they said, oh, that's it. The deal's off, but it was in the contract. So that was Al Davis days. Now there's his son, Mark Davis, but I'm hearing he's just as, I don't know if it's ruthless cutthroat or just an asshole or what he is. But I wanted to ask you, Rob, coming off this win, you know, you've now won 4 or 5 in the UFC. Your record's now 14-2 overall. You do have a 2-fight win streak going on. What have you been thinking about here in the last 48 hours? You know, like location. Well, first of all, you completely healthy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's
Okay.
smooth. Got a little bumps and bruises, but I'm good.
Right. So you're looking to fight soon, right? Do you
Yeah.
tell the matchmaker I'm ready to go?
Yeah. Actually, you want to pull up the schedule?
Sure. Yeah.
I haven't really looked at it yet, but
We can help you out with that.
when's the next one in Vegas?
Oh, you want to do Vegas, huh?
That's John Jones and
Don't do the cream
and
No, that's
thing.
California.
Oh, is that California? It's Anaheim, right?
In Anaheim. right?
Anaheim.
I think there's one coming up in October. I just don't know if it's official. So it is the following. I'm on the rumors tab here at the top of MMA Junkie. If you're ever in need of this type of information, you don't want to go to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, right?
No.
No. Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
George, what happens if you don't have a laptop? Like, say, I don't know, I'm out and about. How would I
Okay,
get
so
that
on your
information?
tablet and on your smartphones, you can download for free the MMA Junkie app.
Well, that seems convenient.
Yeah, so you have almost no excuse.
That
We've made it as easy as possible for you all. Look, I know there's one for sure at the end of the year, but
Is there
I'm hearing there's another one.
anything in October?
There is, yeah. Have you heard that too?
No, I'm just like timeline. I think like October would be probably the best.
Who do you want to fight?
You know what? I want to test myself against Pedro Munoz. You know, he's I haven't really been in there with a real like great jiu-jitsu guy. You know, and he always strikes. You know, it looks like he can definitely wrestle for sure. But I think like I want to get into a couple of scrambles with a guy like that. I can kind of find like okay where exactly I'm at on the ground with the world class jiu-jitsu, because like, I'm pretty sure he's won a lot of jiu-jitsu tournaments. He guillotines everybody. So you know, he's definitely confident in that. But I think it's a good fight standing. I can test myself as far as scrambling with him, and then I think it'll be an entertaining fight. And I believe he just came off a win not too long ago.
Guillotine win.
It was another one. It was another yeah. So like the kid's a stud with that. But I think it'll be a great fight. Seems like a real cool dude. But I think that's the next one I would love to get.
Looks
lined up
like
with.
maybe October 7th. There might be one in Las Vegas.
October 7th.
UFC 216. 217's in Madison Square Garden in New York City, and that's November 4th. And then we get to 218, which is at the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to Vegas. So
You wanna go
October
to
I
Vegas?
actually got a couple questions for Rob.
Sure.
So, you know, he's 4-1 and he's finished everybody, man. That's I feel like he flies super low key. You know what I mean? Do you think beating someone like Pedro, who's a good grappler, right? And he's not afraid to stand and bang. Do you think that's something that's going to get you to stand out in the bantamweight ranks? Because, I just think you're probably one of the most underrated. You know what I mean? Especially on your finishing rate in the UFC.
Yeah.
You know, John Lineker was a loss, but he's a nightmare matchup for anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna like catapult me to like that contention spot. I think that fight would be more for me to kind of test my skills and test myself as far as getting in there with an elite grappler like that. But as far as rankings, I don't see it doing much.
Yeah, and speaking with rankings, so we just had Marlon Moraes come in to the organization, right? And he lost.
Yeah.
And now he's got the number 10 spot, which is 3 above you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's a guy that needs to work his way through the division? And how do you see yourself matching up against someone like Marlon, who's another striker?
That'd be a great fight. Actually, I forgot all about that one. I like that fight. He's constantly striking. He's quick as shit. He has that kind of Frank Yeager footwork. He's
Same team.
Team, right? Yeah. So like you can
Mark
see
Henry's their boxing.
you can see the kicks. That's another tough fight, and then I'm pretty sure he's a beast on the ground. So but a guy like that, when you fight Asansa, was ranked number 3 or 3rd, and you take it to a close decision, give him a 10 spot. Like I wouldn't say he has to go back and beat any guy from the top 15, but you go to a close decision, at least 10 or 11. But
because a similar thing happened to me when I was supposed to debut at UFC 177. Joe Soto steps in, loses to TJ, and I mean he did a great job, but they end up giving him a top 10 spot immediately. Yeah. And I feel like, even though you're doing a great job of coming in,
technically you did.
You know what I mean? You did. Yeah. It's a loss.
Yeah.
Like Justin came in and established himself, beating Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
I feel like Marlon needs to establish himself, and I've watched him for a very long time. I've game planned for him. I've always seen that as a matchup that could have presented itself.
So what do you think we give him like? Somebody in the top 15.
Yeah, 15 for sure. You know what I mean? Someone like you, Matt Lopez. We got Pedro Munoz at number 12.
I think Matt Lopez would be another one. Matt Lopez.
I like all of these.
He doesn't have a fight book, and he's coming off a win. I like the guys coming off a win to match your momentum as well. Yeah. No, the one thing about Moraes is former champ still has some buzz. Losing to Sunsao, no harm in that. So that one I may give a pass to, but I do like the other ones that are coming off a win.
Same night in Brazil and got the upset, right? That Marlon fought. Yeah, that'd be
Alcantara, was it?
Yeah.
All right. We got to take this break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. This one will be a quick one, folks. Stay close. We'll be right back. We got Anthony Birchak and Rob Font in the house.
They are the stretch marks on the underbelly of the MMA community. But hey, stretch marks are the new tats. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, so Rob's going to be leaving us soon. So first of all, thank you for coming by after your fight, after your win over Douglas Silva de Andrade. You got the submission in round 2. You got a performance of the night bonus. So great night for you. And I think you have some family stuff going on. So enjoy that time.
Appreciate
but
it.
I think we've narrowed it down to if the UFC comes back in October to Las Vegas, consider yourself in. And there's some names that we've been tossing out.
Yep.
We narrowed it down to Pedro Munoz.
Yep.
I would say that maybe the winner of Rivera and Almeida, does that interest you at all?
Huge. That'd be huge. I would love to get the winner of Rivera, Almeida, or even
Aljamain and Barao.
But like I said, like I want to be able to get in there as soon as possible. Not rush it, but as soon as possible. So, if anybody, like I said, like Lopez or Pedro Munoz, I'm pretty sure they're looking for fights. So let's link it up.
What about the guy that beat Marias, the Sunsao?
That's another one too. Oh, that's another that'd be great one too. But I'm pretty sure he's gonna be like, no, I want that either that title fight or at least a TJ rematch, something like that. I don't see him taking the fight. Like obviously, like if he does, it'd be huge. But I don't see it happening as far as if I was to manage him or anything like that.
Right. The top of the division is Cody and TJ, and it looks like I think Cruz is waiting out the winner.
Yeah, we got Garbrandt as champ, Dom, TJ, a Sunsao Lineker.
Yeah.
Top 4 champion in 5. So,
but I would say that with 2 more wins, I think if you play your cards right, maybe you could get in there for a world title or for that contender fight. But here's some advice, not that you asked me, but I'm gonna give it to you anyway.
Please do.
Try and line yourself up for when the champions is fighting or those top guys.
So kind of fight on the card.
Try and get on that same card.
Absolutely.
Because you could catch a break like Joe Soto fought for a world title. He was on the same card.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So
MMA is so crazy, man. Stuff happens all the time at weigh-ins. Look, Shevchenko and then JJ tried stepping in.
That was huge.
You know what I mean? And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Shevchenko beat JJ like 3 times in Muay Thai.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that would have been a scrap. But if you could jump in anywhere in this top 10 right now, man, guys that I want to see are Almeida, the winner of Rivera and Almeida, and even Aljo. I think
you only have to wait till the 22nd and the 29th. And then maybe there's some like openings along with the
then pick a target, man. Pick a target, shoot that arrow.
For sure. All right, good questions there, Anthony. I like it. Anthony's really tackling this co-host role, isn't he?
Yeah, I like it.
You can follow Rob on Twitter at Rob S. Font. And you got about 15 seconds. If there's anything else you want to plug or give a shout-out to anybody that's listening, go right ahead.
Just want a quick shout-out to my sister. She just got engaged yesterday. So, Gigi Lovey, shout-out to you. Elaine Frias, it's her birthday today. Quick shout out to her, and I just want to thank everybody that supported me through this journey. Twitter is Rob S. Font, Snapchat is the Font, THAFONT, and Instagram is Rob Font. So
we'll be back in a couple minutes, folks.
Appreciate it.
A lot of these songs I'm into, I don't know the lyrics. I couldn't even come close.
You don't know any part of the song?
Oh, got a brand new bag. That's all.
I really don't pay attention to lyrics. So for me, it's no big deal. For others, like, it would surprise me. I'm like, really? Okay, because yeah, you were into lyrics.
I am. I like reading them and finding out where they actually came from.
Yeah.
But what I mean is I can't really understand them too much.
Here we go, folks. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Big shout out to Ed Cap for lining up the Rob Bont interview. He's also lined up our next guest, Jason House, will join us when Danny gives us the green light. In the meantime, let's talk to our good friend Marco from Waco, Texas. What's up, Marco?
Marco from Waco, ¿qué pasa, Varos, and Anthony Birchak?
What's up?
¿Qué onda?
¿Qué pasa, velado? Hey, a hot tip for you guys. You might want to talk to James Vick, the executioner. He was spitting some venom on the Anik and Florian podcast, man.
He's just in town, too.
James Vick?
Yeah.
What was he saying? What was the topic?
But the topic was that he's pretty hard that some people get grandfathered into the top 10, like, example, Michael Johnson, that had lost 4 out of the last 5. He's still ranked in the top 10 on the UFC rankings. He only lost to Benil Dariush, and he cannot even smell the top 10. And there is other people that are just basically ducking him. Like, he wants to get into that top 10. He called everybody and their mother. He called everybody out. You know,
it's funny. I can talk about this. I'll tell you. All right. So, in my opinion, we've talked about this for years about how we think rankings should work. And the one problem I have with the UFC rankings is I think they're a little bit too knee-jerk. They don't kind of tell a history and a story of how the fighter got there, and at the same time, just because they lose a fight, they don't tumble out. So if you pull up USA Today Sports MMA Junkie rankings by going to MMAjunkie.com and clicking rankings and going to lightweight, let's actually take a look at Michael Johnson. All right, Michael Johnson 17-11, but he started off as a 500 fighter, like 5-5 or whatever. Since then, he's been a lot better. Johnson owns wins over Ferguson, Lausanne, Barbosa. You know what I mean? So he's got, like, let me see, where's Barbosa? Barbosa's 5. These will change today. Ferguson's 3. So he's beaten great fighters, 2 top 5 fighters. He's also lost to great fighters. He's lost to Dariush. But that was controversial. That was in Nashville. And 9 out of 10 people were saying, whoa, Johnson got robbed. Whatever. Dariush got the win. Johnson got the loss. Oh, he also starched Poirier.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he sat him down.
Yeah, and Poirier's legit. And then how about the 2 guys that beat him? Well, they're both fucking undefeated. One's Justin Gaethje, a WSOF world champ who came over, is 18-0 now. And the other one's Khabib Nurmagomedov, 24-0 overall. So it's like he can't tumble out too much. Anyway, what am I getting at? You can tell by who he beat, who he lost to, kind of where he resides. And I was pitching to the guys today that, what are you going to do? You're going to make him go below Poirier? It hasn't even been a year, and he beat Poirier. Head-to-head, to me, is the most important criteria out there. Al Iaquinta is coming off a win, but before that, he hadn't fought for over 2 years, or about 2 years. And the win was Diego Sanchez. No disrespect to Sanchez, but he's seen his better days. So Iaquinta, great win. He did what he needed to do, but we only have the one fight over the last 2 years and 3 months. And then Brett Primus, who, did a number on Chandler. He's undefeated. He's a world champion. I just don't think I don't think that whatever Johnson did is going to make him go below Brett Primus. And then, of course, we get to the other ones. James Vick is an honorable mention in our rankings. He's legit, but what he needs is a quality win, a ranked opponent. The one time he went up against the ranked opponent, like you mentioned, Marco, he lost. He lost to Benil Dariush. He's beaten Marco Polo Reyes. Respect.
Good.
Abel Trujillo. Respect. And the other UFC wins have been Ramsey Nijum, who just came in through the redemption season, Jake Matthews, tough guy, Nick Hine. But none of these guys are ranked guys. So he's on the cusp, he's on the verge, but yeah, he needs to beat a ranked guy because the one time he did, he got knocked out by a punch by Benil Dariush. Therefore, that's why he's kind of hovering. But that's what the ranking should do, is kind of tell you a story. You look at the UFC rankings, and I'm telling you, man, there's stuff there that baffles me. 2 guys just fought like a week ago, and the loser's on top of the winner. And I'm like, come on. I mean, at least make
directly on top.
Yeah, at least
Not
make
like 2
some
spots ahead,
sense
right
out of
on
it.
top of them.
And why? It's because the media that that covers the sport, the ones I guess that are the most respected media, aren't a part of it. Some of them were, but they're not. And a lot of people that are doing it, just I don't know that there is.
It has gotten a little better.
Has it?
Yeah.
Okay. I just don't know that how much goes into it or whatever. But I know a lot of it seems biased. A lot of it seems unknowledgeable.
Early on, I think it was, that's my boy. All right, I'm gonna put him here.
Probably, yeah. Marco, listen, our next guest is ready to go. Did you have another quick comment on your way out? We'll give you 30 seconds.
30 seconds. $6 million on back taxes for Floyd Mayweather. I saw you make $200 million with the podcast. You need to get better accountants, or you need to get better people around you. You need the money. So you better don't embarrass yourself when McGregor knock you out. You better let you guys call you guys next time.
All right, we'll see it. So here's my thing. He's got 8 bodyguards. They probably make $100,000 each. Just have 7. You'll still be pretty safe, but have an accountant that almost lives in this little outhouse in the back of your sprawling estate and just check in with them every day and say, we good? Do we need to deposit, move some money around? Should I buy that 18th exotic car or not? Or my 50th watch? You know what I mean? Just let's make sure we're on top of that so we don't back into that. Because if Conor wasn't ready to fight him, maybe the Pacquiao fight, but Pacquiao just got upset. So would there be another $100-200 million fight out there for him? I don't know. There'd be a fight out there for him, but a big epic fight like the one that'll get him to get his tail wagging and get him excited to go out there and work out.
7
I don't know.
and maybe get a pit bull, get rid of another one.
Yeah.
Exactly. So 6 and a pit bull.
You really need 8 guys to protect you.
I ran into him at the link, and there was
a lot.
Yeah, there was like 8 big old dudes with him. And I'm like, literally 4 would do. 4 big dudes that size, 4 would do.
Yeah. Let's get to Jason House, one of the top managers in the sport. He was actually here last week. He's a manager to Rob Font. He's also a manager to Cody Stamen, who fought Terrion Ware. That means Jason had to actually call both guys and go, hey, you made it to the UFC. And then he had to inform him you're fighting a Iridium Sports stablemate. Now, they're from opposite ends of the country, so I don't think too many feelings were hurt. But Jason's had to be. So I wanted to talk to him about that experience. What's up, Jason House? How you doing? Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio.
Good there?
Yeah. You there?
You got to give him that intro, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to my house.
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
Yeah. Doing good.
How was that experience like last week? To your guys that you work so hard to try and guide their careers, you get them in the UFC, and then you got to watch them fight each other. In fact, before we get to the fight, how was the phone call to each guy?
It was a lot of mixed emotions. I've been with Cody and Terrion both for a long time now, and it was an honor to be a part of their career and journey in mixed martial arts. I was so excited to be able to inform that they're taking the next step and achieving their dream of fighting in the UFC. However, it's also extremely tough because they're fighting each other, and that's never really happened to me before. So it was definitely a tough situation, and it's kind of hard because like, hey, we did it. We're in the UFC. However, I want to be honest. You're going to be fighting another one of our clients.
Right.
But both of them are very mature and professional, and they were awesome about it. They completely understood. And, on the flip side of it, George, I would never want a client not to get in the UFC because he'd be fighting my client, if that makes sense. Like, that's his opportunity. He earned it. Right. I would never want to prevent someone from getting an opportunity. And once I explained that to them, I think they fully understood, and if you have the chance to put 2 guys in, you're going to put 2 guys in if they have to fight each other. That means they're able to, take their careers to the next level and fight on the big stage.
I think the only thing that changes is the phone call itself, because usually a manager would call in and say, hey, man, you're in the big show, this, that, whatever. Then you go, and you got so-and-so. Man, you can get him. I think you can get him. You follow that up with a little bit of a pep talk. In this stance, you just go, hey, you're in the UFC. Yeah. And then a little bit of a silence, like, can't really say much because here comes the other part. And, of course, you want to show neutrality. But, all right, how about this? On fight night, if the T-Mobile had Section 220 was on one side, where the blue corner is, and Section 200 was where the red corner. Were you sitting in Section 210 and right in the middle? And how did you even tackle that night?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I watched the fight from my hotel room. I was such a nuts about the whole situation, that I decided that I decided that I would just watch it by myself and then just come to the arena after to be there to support the guys. it was just too tough for me. I didn't. That's tough.
I will say I could have used that ticket, man. If you didn't use it, I could have used it because I sat at home like a sucker.
No. Like me and my fiance, we went to the fight right after.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You know, I don't want to like sit next to someone's fans, or once I start hearing people talk about the other, and it's just a tough situation all the way around. So I just kind of wanted to watch it in my own quietness, and both put on a great performance. Both showed great effort. And it was really awesome, because Sean had texted me like midway through the fight and told me like, man, these guys are both going at it. It's a great fight.
Yeah.
And that made me really happy, right? I mean, as a manager, you're like, you kind of relieves a little bit of stress off your shoulders, right? That they're both performing to a good level,
Yeah.
So
the announcers like the two. Jason House joining us here on MMA Junkie Radio. Goes, what do you have for Jason?
Jason, did you ever have an opportunity where you needed to sit them both down together and have a conversation together? Did that ever happen?
No. Obviously, I think like their photo times and a couple. Obviously they're both in your guys' studio, right after each other. So they'd pass by each other. I mean, they understood. I mean, they were completely professional about it, and I definitely think they made my job easier because, like you said, the phone call changed when you called. But they both were. I think they both were so excited for this opportunity, and they understood. I'm lucky. I really work with some great guys. They really were amazing last week.
What was all the pre-fight stuff like? The fight week, dedicating time and all that. How did you figure out where you were going to go for one guy and where were you going to go for the other? How did all that play out?
To be honest, it worked out pretty perfectly. Just the way they handled their schedules. I was just checking in with Rob and Cody and Tarian throughout the day. Like, hey, do you need a ride to the Performance Institute, or do you need this? You want to take you get some food, or just kind of checking in with them. And it kind of worked out perfectly to where I was able to be with all of them. I'm very lucky. Also, my Tyson Charday, who's with our agency. He was out there because he corners Rob. He's a coach and a manager. He was already out there. So like one night, like Terrence Camp wasn't out, so he trained with Tyson and Rob and that team over there. So it actually worked out great. Having Tyson out here really helped out the load because we had Jakar fight Friday night. We had those 3 on Saturday, and then we also have 3 tonight of the Contender Series. So we had like 7 clients in Vegas at one point. So definitely a busy week.
Did they ever at any time tell you, look, all this is fine and dandy, we're going to do this because we're professionals, but we don't want to be in the same area at the same time? In other words, if they both want to go to the Performance Institute, could you have taken them in one car, or was that a situation where you knew, I got to take one and come back and get the other?
They never specifically said that. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to want to sit in the same car together. But I think if they had to, they would be cool about it. Like I said, Cody and Taryn are they're great guys. They're two very mature. Like, there was no issues. They never once, pulled me aside and said anything of any sort. But no, I don't think I'd get in the same car. But yeah, it worked out smoothly. Like, they were completely understandable. I think I even texted like, hey, I'm with this one. I'll be right back. I'll get this. And they're totally cool with it. So.
What'd you do after the fights? Because there's obviously the consolation towards the one that lost the fight, and then the winners celebrating. How'd you divvy up that time?
I just divvied up like normal. Like just if I had 2 other clients on the card as usual, right? I went and I think Cody and his family went out to eat. I went in, stopped by, and said hi, and sat down with him, and got to meet his parents. It was really cool. And then Taryn got back to the hotel. I spent time with him and his wife and kids and his coaches, and I had a discussion with them, and just play it like I normally would. Whether that, because we've had 2, 3. We had 3 clients in Singapore, 3 clients in New Zealand card. We're used to having multiple clients in a card, so I just treated that as normal.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't Healy and Green fight each other, and they were both your clients as well?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the only time it's ever happened before. The funny thing about that is those guys really wanted to fight each other.
All right.
And that's why I learned my lesson, because the way the tickets were given out in the family section, they had Healy's family and Green's family literally next to each other.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
And so my ticket was it literally was like fate. My ticket was like between the 2 of them. And that's when I learned my lesson. Like, I'm never doing this again. Like, it was horrible. I just sat there with like a straight face the whole time. Like, and it's tough because, you know, one's cheering, one's doing this, you know, it's a back and forth, and I get it. You know, you're behind your athlete, and I completely understand. It's just a tough situation.
Anybody that was watching Jason that night probably thought he was doing the mannequin challenge, right?
Yeah.
No movement at all. We're also joined by Anthony Birchak here in studio, MMA fighter.
What's up, House?
You got a question for Jason?
Yeah, so, I mean,
my man.
so emotions aside, obviously you said both gentlemen were very, very professional. But as a businessman running Iridium, you know, ideally you would want to have two clients fighting each other because ultimately that's good for Iridium business, correct? So how do you deal with, you know, or would you prefer to constantly have guys go in together like Stamen and Ware, and you know, isn't that more ideal for your business model?
I mean, for me, brother, I mean, I do this career because I love it. You know, I left a career as an attorney to do this, so I mean, for me, it's not about the money or the business per se. You know, it's about the relationships with these boys and these guys. You know, I mean, if it gets them both in the UFC and I help achieve a dream, that was the silver lining in all this for me. And that's what I was really focusing on. But I really don't want our clients fighting each other. I try to avoid it. You know, I'm sure Sean or Nick would tell you I try to avoid it at all costs.
Yeah,
I don't want.
And I mean, I've seen you. You know, you're one of the best in the business, and I've seen, you know, just how close a relationship you have with each guy. So this Terrion Ware and Cody Stamen thing had to be pretty. You know, it's obviously you had Bobby Green and Healy do it, but this one's got to be pretty. It's never an easy situation. So, I mean,
no, it's extremely tough. I mean, I hated it when Healy and Green did it because I love both those guys to death, and I hated it when Terrion and Cody did it because I love them to death. But, you know, I think the situation was a little different because, as we all know, it's very tough to get into the UFC right now. So to have the ability to make two dreams come true at the same time, I mean, I'm going to go for it, you know, even
Absolutely.
though it's not what I want. It's not like I don't want to see my guys ever fight each other. It's not why I got into this. But in this situation, it's like, man, I know how hard Terrion has worked on the regional scene to get to this point. I know how long Cody's worked on his regional scene to get to this point. I mean, they're both amazing guys, and they've dedicated their lives to the sport. I mean, you know how it goes, Anthony. You've been through that grind. It's a tough one.
I mean, absolutely, and no more than deserving than those two guys. I mean, I've seen Terrion grind in several different organizations under the UFC, and for him and Stamen to finally make it together, you know, at the same time is pretty cool for me as not only a fighter but as a fan to see going in.
Jason, one last.
So, I mean,
go ahead, finish.
Yes. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as corny as this may sound, were you ever rooting for a draw, or like, I mean, was there even a possible outcome other than, you know, knowing that one guy just had to beat the other? Like, what were you hoping for that night?
I mean, a draw and a fight a night would have been ideal, right?
Yeah,
that's true. Fight of the bonus and a draw.
That happened. That actually happened with Joe Lozon and it was Joe Lozon and Jim Miller. He was managed by another management agency. They were the same guy, and they had, I think it was performance of the night and finish of the night. And you know, how does that go towards the manager? You know what I mean? Does the manager take? You know, you got to be like ecstatic, over the moon when your guys put on a performance like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. No, I forgot about that. That's right. That did happen.
Wow. All right.
Yeah,
and who are your horses going tonight?
We have Joby Sanchez at 125 fighting Manny Vasquez. We have J.D. Pickett, a late replacement, fighting Charles Bird. And then we have Greg Rebello fighting, forgive me, Zoo. It's Zoo and I can't pronounce his last name, which I believe is the main event. So we're very excited. You know, that show seems to be a great time with Uriah and Snoop and everyone there. So we're hoping these boys put on some good performances tonight and they're able to showcase their skills.
All right, my man. Well, we'll see you there. We're going to the Tough Gym as well to catch the Dana White Contender Series. I guess it's part 1, episode 1, whatever they're going to call it. So thanks for joining us here on the show, and thanks for sharing, you know, the past week that took place here with both of your clients making it to the UFC. It was obviously a tough position to be in, but they're both in now, and they both did perform well, including Ware, who came up short.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it was a great weekend. I mean, everyone performed well. I mean, let's not forget Jakar. You know, on Friday had a very, great win over Marcus. I know there's a lot of
tension between those guys. And Ralph Vaughn obviously performed well, taking up, jumping up to the main card last minute and getting performance of the night bonus, which we're very ecstatic for him as well.
Yeah, there was tension between Diakiese and Goes. Diakiese didn't
Yeah,
like
there
that Goes chose Close, and then of course I had to admit to Close that I was leaning towards Diakiese because he had never lost. So there's a little tension here on the MMA Junkie Radio set, but we got through it. We got through it. Anyway, hey, listen, my man, thanks for joining us on the show, and we'll catch up soon. All right?
Thank you.
All right, see you,
Okay,
Jason.
thank
All
you.
right, later.
Okay.
All right, folks, let's take a break here. Right, Danny? That's the call right now.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's take a break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. We will try and check in with Tony Ferguson one more time, and we also have Brian Butler here in studio. He'll join us for a few minutes. Still got to talk a little bit more about Mousasi joining Bellator. It was something that we glanced over yesterday because the news was still fresh, but we were getting towards the end of the show, and now we have more time to talk about it. All right, folks, you're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. We'll be right back. Stay close. Anthony Birchak in the house.
compassion, common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Whether your passion is Major League Baseball or even the upcoming NFL and college football seasons, the place to hear about it all is Vegas Stats and Information Network. Go behind the counters of a Las Vegas sportsbook and find out how the odds are made and where the smart money's going. The Vegas Stats and Information Network daily at 2 Eastern on Sirius XM channel 204. Want to welcome to the show noted manager to many of the stars in the sport of mixed martial arts, Brian Butler from Sucker Punch. What's up, Brian? How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you back. You know, one thing I've always liked about your Twitter handle, Brian Butler _AU, is this last part, this last quote. I am the one that didn't slither through the grass to get here. Because we talk to a lot of people who know managers or do business with managers. I think I've told you this before, but I'll tell it to you again. I really haven't heard a bad thing about you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, I work
sometimes
hard
you
at
do
that.
it lag a little on the text back, but no, I'm just kidding. But
you're the one that lags.
We've never had to change the carpet here when Brian walks through, right?
Nah, yeah, seriously, man. I'm telling you, there's filth in this sport. There really is filth in this sport, and we have great relationships with people, you know. And then all of a sudden, in casual conversation, 6 months later, you'll go, example. You know, I'll just go, man, that Anthony Birchak knocked it out of the park. He was a co-host. And then someone will go, no, man, he did my boy. You always hear that. It always comes back. Anthony, I've never heard a bad thing about you either.
Oh, good.
So no, so
I'm not talking to the right people.
I was just tossing out names. But the thing with Brian, I really have never heard anything. So yeah, I like that quote and match what I had heard and what I had seen.
Oh, appreciate it.
And I'm really happy for you because you got your Douglas Lima champ. Oh, you got your Bellator champ, I should say, in Douglas Lima. And your UFC champion, Max Holloway.
Yep.
Not your first, because you also managed Felice, Joanna.
And
but
Jermaine.
Oh, yeah, and of course Jermaine.
And, yep.
And so we'll get to some of these names, but how was Brazil, man? Just talk about that whole experience.
Brazil
you were the away team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that was the home guy.
It was crazy, though. You know, I was expecting it to be a lot worse. Everybody was telling me, stay out of these areas, don't go down these streets, just stay in the hotel. And it was actually a great place. The people were super friendly. Even when they saw Max, they were all jumping around asking for pictures, and they were very hospitable. So I didn't have a bad experience at all in Brazil. I mean, when we went into the open workouts, you know, hearing, you know, I don't know how many thousands of people were in that mall, but cheering, you know, you're going to die or Ut vamos hail or whatever. That I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but
there's got to be something that they have to switch it up to. You're going to get your ass kicked. You're going to get your ass. Why is it that?
There's got to be an adjustment, right?
No one's ever died.
I think it's like,
so they're like,
I think it gets lost in
on
translation. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like if you sing El Cucaracha in Spanish or in English, it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So you can't say, yeah, they say uva mujer.
Yeah,
I guess
maybe
right.
there's probably something a little shorter. You know, but
I think it sounds cool. We walked in there.
I was dancing
Max
to
was
it.
like, Max just
but
ran
no one's
straight
ever
to the
died.
arena.
They've never actually fulfilled what the
It is one of the worst threats ever, right?
Yeah,
nobody has ever died.
But they do it from as a fan, just like in Ireland. You know, they love to hate, but when you get there, they love. Like when Max went to Ireland, they loved him. I mean, all the Irish people loved Max out there. So it was just cool. They started cheering it, and then Max just sprinted to the cage, and we were all trying to keep up with them. And it was a kind of a cool experience. I think if they weren't screaming that, it wouldn't have been quite as energetic. So
yeah, I suppose at this point you can't turn back the clock, but I still think you're gonna get your ass kicked. You're gonna get your ass.
Something.
Or that one's not flowing. Maybe
well, yeah, but it's gotta be in Portuguese.
Your mom was not gonna recognize. You know, I don't know something, but of course you can't say that to Kiesa. But
yeah,
but yeah, no, you're gonna die. No one ever dies. In fact, sometimes your guy's closer to the brink, you know, of that.
I'll tell you one thing.
Plus, it's so morbid too.
About Max is that fight, the last, I don't know, almost probably 4 or 5 fights, he's told me exactly specifically to the T how he is going to win those fights. And every single time he's told me, I always try not to say anything because I'm like, shit, he's reaching, you know. Like when he told me he was going to submit Cub, I was like, Max, I was like, you know, you're a white belt, you know. he's like, trust me. He's like, I'm going to submit him. And I was like, he's like, I'm going to beat him up. I'm going to stand southpaw. I'm going to. He told me all this whole thing, and it was to the T. Same thing with Pettis. He said the exact same thing, and same thing with Aldo. He said he was going to catch Aldo with his right off of 1-2 and drop him. And I was like, okay.
I think he understands something. There's a little more going on there. Is that he's actually, you know, bringing it to fruition by verbalizing it.
Honestly, I've said this for the longest time, Max has some of the highest fight IQ
I agree.
I have ever seen in any of my clients. That kid will dissect an opponent, and he knows everything about them, and he'll stick to a game plan. You know, I mean, with specifically with Pettis, he told me he's like 2 ways I'm gonna finish him. He said he was gonna finish him, which I was like, it's still Anthony Pettis. He said, Anthony's gonna shoot on me. He's like, if he shoots on me, I'm gonna catch him in a guillotine, and if that doesn't happen, then I'm gonna finish him with body kicks and body blows. I'm gonna make him quit. And I was like, but if you look, I think it was after the first round, Anthony did shoot on him right at the end, and Max caught him in a standing guillotine, and then the round ended. And so it was like everything he said.
First 2 rounds were rough on Max.
With Aldo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what
that
I
was
like
part of his plan too.
He said it?
Exactly what he said. He's like, I was going to come out with heat. He's like, I'm going to take it. I'm going to see. And then he started saying that I started feeling his power, and he caught me with the uppercut. That was the one that was the one I felt. But then when I felt it, I was like, wait, he doesn't hit any harder than Yance or Maki. He's like, well, I can take this guy.
But when you look at that, he did exactly, he stayed to the game plan, and he let Aldo throw all that power and heat, and all that muscle gets tired, man. And no matter, at the end of the day, I go for the skinny guys, bro. You know what I mean? Like, he stayed with it, and it ended up paying off.
Yeah, he said when he dropped his hands to Aldo, and he said, and Aldo didn't move forward, he's like, okay. And then he said he raised his hands, and then Aldo didn't move. He's like, okay, now the fight starts. Yeah. So after the second round, he told in the corner, he said the fight starts now. He's like, the fight starts now. And then he went out. And
that's gangsta.
What was going through your mind when you weren't seeing the Aldo leg kick?
When I wasn't seeing it, we actually expected not to see it.
Yeah?
Yeah, Max said he does not.
You got lottery numbers or something for us today?
I'm telling you, Max.
Did you know Tony was going to no-show us too?
No. Max, he said he doesn't throw kicks like he used to. Ever since he broke his foot, he won't throw kicks anymore. So I'm not too worried about it. And
Anderson's been kind of like that as well.
Yeah.
He'll throw them, but he doesn't throw them the way he used to.
Right. So, at this point, we just trust him.
Probably hard to pick out a moment, but was this maybe the finest moment of your managing career? I guess no slight to anyone else. You've been there for other belts, but because this is Aldo, an all-time great in Brazil, like that's
it's obviously a huge highlight, and something I'll never forget. I was in the corner, so. And for me, when I was standing there looking across and seeing Aldo with his head down, I was like, oh, gee, it's because I know Aldo since WEC days, and that's his stance, and it was just it was just surreal.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about so over this past weekend we started hearing from Dana White if Max is the leading candidate seems to be Edgar. Cub Swanson's chirping he wants another shot at Max, so we're hearing that talk. But where does it even stand with Max Holloway, and what might be next for him?
We are kind of in negotiations right now with Max and getting a new deal in place. And once that's in place, we'll be ready to commit. It's looking like it's probably going to be Frankie, but nothing.
He's not. Is he out of contract right now?
No. It's just we're just at that place where we are able to talk about it. So he's not out, but we're talking about
understanding value.
Yes, and things are, like
he's the next BJ Penn, man. You got to get behind a guy like that, and you really gotta champion him to the top.
Well, I just don't. I guess what I wanted to know was like when Nate was saying he wanted more money, Dana was clear that he wasn't even halfway through his contract. So is Max past halfway through his contract, or is it just because he became a world champion that number just changes?
No. We had renegotiated Max's contract when the time was right a few fights back, and we came to a compromise and said, we didn't get quite what we wanted then, but we kind of met in the middle, and Dan was like, listen, guys, Max goes out there and does his thing, wins the belt. We'll be sitting back here at this brunch having this meeting again. We're not going to fight this contract through. So Max did everything he did, and I think he did it in stellar,
awesome
format. So here we are.
So the brunch hasn't happened yet, or is that what you're in town for?
I was in town. I had Angela Hill fighting, and then I've got 3 guys in the Contender Series tonight, and then I was here. We came in. Max was a special guest, and Carla and Felice were here. Did I have anybody else? Douglas Lima was here. And I was just telling you about how he wrecked that machine in the UFC gym.
What was the score? Do you remember?
I do remember. I have it on video because I remember the heavyweights were hitting up there, and they were hitting like 60K, which was, I think Max was at 38, and then Max spiked out at 52. Everybody was in that area, and then the heavyweights came in and hit 60. Douglas comes in, puts my glove on. And one times that machine 93K.
Whoa.
Forrest Griffin was like, "Holy shit!" You know, it was like,
whoa.
It was crazy. So I mean, Douglas he's got a lot of pop, man. That guy.
I've been watching him since the MFC days, man. Like
his patience in fights is incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Even when he has someone hurt, he's not that guy that like, you know what I mean? He knows he's like, I got him hurt. I'm chilling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait for his hand to drop, and I'm gonna continue to time everything. Yeah, he's
got a good swagger in the cage. He
Yeah.
knows, when to attack. But
You brought up a name in BJ Penn, Anthony.
Yeah.
And Brian,
Wait. Can I interrupt real fast?
Sure.
You know how I called you a great manager? Well, I'm a great host. You didn't answer the question about the brunch. Did you guys have a brunch? You, Max, and Dana?
We sat down.
You got into this whole little. He sidebarred me a little bit with the punch, and I was like, "Really, Douglas? What he hit?" Then I realized, hang on a second, that brunch question.
We sat down. We had a meeting, and things seem to be moving in the right direction. So I think it's just going to take a little more time. But
I get scared because I thought Musasi was a slam dunk, and
Yeah,
next thing
me
you know,
too,
he's in Bellator. So. I definitely want Max to get paid. I think he's proved it. He fights steady. He does that little bull kick for the last 10 seconds. He'll give us that. He talks, a great game. He backs it up. He's flying the Hawaiian flag now that BJ is obviously no longer the #1 guy. But sorry, goes back to BJ. You were asking.
Well, I'm a bad host because now I can think about his brunch. How about you guys? BJ Penn is a guy that for the longest time you would have thought, if anyone can take the UFC to Hawaii, it's got to be BJ Penn, but it just never happened. Is Max Holloway that guy? Like, do you feel like we know we get that standard answer from Dana White, but do you feel like some traction's been made?
I do. I think, BJ is a legend, and he came into the sport as he's a pioneer. So I don't know how to say it. The sport grew to a different level, and now BJ's kind of at the twilight of his career. I think Max is coming at the right time, and he's getting the right recognition. When Max went home from Rio, there was over 1,000 people waiting at the airport, and within 2 days they formed a parade that was 17 miles long for him. So he's definitely on that BJ level in Hawaii for sure. And I wouldn't have said that unless I went to Hawaii with him and saw it. You cannot walk anywhere. The trucks school buses pulling up beside us at the stoplight, opening their windows, and the bus driver opening the door like, Max, and the kids are freaking out the window. Everywhere.
That was a phenomenal homecoming, man. That would have brought tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think he's the next BJ Penn, right? And BJ Penn's still in the UFC. Unfortunately, it's just not been good for him. But I think Max has the power to do it. But I think it's a collective now. I think there's more Hawaiians in the UFC at this time that could really, as a collective, bring it to the island. But
the realistic approach is they're not going to build a new stadium.
No.
Right? And I don't think they're going to cover. I don't think there's going to be some sort of a permanent cover, or like the one we talked about in Glendale. Yeah. So it would have to be some massive tent. I get that. We just experienced PFL and the condensation and fighters slipping. But if there's an arena that seats 10,000, it's not like the UFC's never done.
No, it's Aloha Stadium, right?
With 10,000. No. The Stan Sheriff Arena, I guess it's on the University of Hawaii campus. I've been to Blaisdell. It's like 6,000, 8,000. But I guess the other one gets 10,000.
Their basketball, is it their basketball
they've had
arena?
fights here at Mandalay Bay, and our capacity is 11.
Yeah.
So, it really is possible. And Hawaii could definitely benefit from it. They have a roster of great Hawaiian fighters. Tavares is coming off a win. Throw him on there as well. You know what I mean? I think you rally behind this kid.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
Hawaii, our 50th save, but in a way it's like its own nation. And you saw what Ireland did for Conor McGregor. You saw the trajectory that the kid that lost to Frankie Edgar, Yair, had with Mexico. They were starting to rally behind him. You know what I mean? There's certain parts of the world, whether it's a country, a state, that just can rally, and Hawaii's one of them, man. That could be huge for the UFC.
So going for you as a manager, do you have leverage going into negotiations saying, like, hey, we want this in Hawaii? Like, is that anything you guys ever can use or put into writing?
No, because, we can – everybody wants it in Hawaii. The UFC wants it in Hawaii. All the staff members are like, I'd love to go to Hawaii. But there's so many logistical things on the business end that you have to understand that the UFC has to deal with, of getting the equipment there,
taxes
making sure
and stuff
there's
like
the
that.
Taxes and the size of the arena, and a lot of logistical things that most people won't think about. So everybody wants it there. It's not that anybody doesn't want it there. It's just
so ultimately, is the juice worth the squeeze of fitting that low of a capacity audience into a stadium and seeing what can actually be generated from
Exactly. Like, you know, if you had the opportunity to do the show here in Vegas where you know you're going to clear several million, or do it in Hawaii where you're not going to, where you know you're not going to clear,
Yeah.
you know, if you own the business, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the argument that we've gotten back, but it's not really an argument. They still want it to happen there. They still want to activate there. It's just, I think it's going to take time. I think it'll probably happen next year.
I think when it does happen, I'd love to see maybe like an international fight week type thing.
Ooh.
So many people
Oh
that would
my
come
God.
out.
Like
Could
what,
you
like
imagine
what the NFL
that?
used to do with the Pro
Yeah.
Bowl? And
Could
Something
you
like
imagine that? That'd be amazing.
That'd be a
That would
great
be amazing.
vacation for a fan.
Can I ride one of your guys' coattails over there?
put the credential in?
Yeah, please.
All right, let's go to another one of your top names, Jermaine Durandamy. No longer the champion at 145 pounds, and it looks like she's pursuing now a fight at 35. So I guess that's her future. But what happened there, Brian? I guess
You know, she's standing on her morals with the situation, and she doesn't believe that somebody that is, you know, known to be a cheater and known to try to hide and has been busted on multiple occasions should be even allowed to, and she feels like the UFC is going out of their way to just create this just specifically for this person that in her head, you know, she feels is a cheater. So she's, like I said, Jermaine is the type of woman that is very high on her own morals, and you know, she just wasn't going to do it. She wasn't going to be pressured into the situation, and you know, you can't force someone to fight. And you know, I don't think everybody says that she's scared of her. You know, Jermaine actually fought a real man, you know, in a boxing match, in a professional boxing match, and knocked him silly, like knocked him off his feet unconscious. So because of that, I really do think that she's just standing on her morals with the situation. So, you know,
could she have come forward with that a little sooner rather than the hand and Holly, I think that's why the fans perceive it as, wait a minute, like.
So my perspective of it is Jermaine kind of came out of obscurity. Like, only true fans knew who she was before the Holly fight, and after that she had the Holly fight, and everybody's saying that she cheated, which I still will argue that. I mean, it was so loud in there, and you know, she threw a punch after the bell, but she was already in motion. Argue me on it if you want. I'm backing her on that one. You know, nobody stepped in and stopped her.
Right, the ref has to stop it. It's not the bell; it's the ref has to interject. So she was not.
And they were in the
wrong.
middle. They were in the middle of a mix. You know, they were in the middle of going. And the bell goes.
Yeah, it's not like there was a lull, right? It was they were mixing it up.
It's not like it was ding, and then she walked up and hit her. They were scrapping. So after that, she catapulted in people knowing who she was, and social media really took a toll on her. She wasn't expecting to get, you know, that much hate over cheating, over, you know, and I think the anxiety of all of that kind of came down on her pretty hard, and she kind of just went into hiding for a little bit to kind of regroup. And I was trying to give her examples with like Felice and some of my other fighters that constantly get hate on social media and how they deal with it. And it just hit her like a ton of bricks out of nowhere.
Well, it happened in another fight, giant fight, right? It was was it Aldo Mendez or
that happened there too?
Yeah, right. It was right after the bell, and someone got sat down on it. You know, and did they get that much flack out of it?
I don't know, because I don't manage it, so I didn't track it. But I
didn't see anything through the channels though. You know what I mean?
Jermaine got hammered on social media by MMA.
Yeah,
fans. And MMA fans can be
they're fickle,
great, and they can be the fucking worst.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just think it hit her hard, and that was how she dealt with it. You know.
What do you think, man? Well, actually, we got to take this. Well, no, let me ask this one more question. Where do you think she stands as far as the UFC is concerned? Like, is that going to take a while to get out of maybe the proverbial doghouse, or where do you think? Because see, here's another thing, Brian. Is so she was going to fight Holly, but I think everyone knew that Cyborg was right around the corner. So even backtracking, would it have even made sense to go down that road if that was going to be your stance?
I don't know. You know, I don't know if that was going to be our stance at the time. Everything was coming so fast that, you know, we knew that Cyborg was obviously the fight that was wanted, but like I said, I don't know, man. I was trying to manage the situation and you know, get her where she needed to be, and then there were times where she was on it back and forth, but then I think Cyborg had another pop somewhere, and it just, you know, put her over the edge with it. So.
Does the athlete always decide, or do you ever have your input that they?
I have my input.
Was there any in this case?
I have my. I mean, everybody. First of all, everybody. Her coaches, Jermaine's mom, even Jermaine. We all think that Jermaine can beat her. You know what I mean? If there's anybody that can beat her, Jermaine. Jermaine's got power. I mean, and speed and technique. So, you know, there's that input, but at the same time, it's a delicate situation of forcing a fighter to do something or convincing them to do it. Because if something bad happens, then you're going to be the blame. You know, at the end of the day. So it's kind of just kind of nurturing the situation and telling them and helping them come to the decision themselves. I don't really try to push much harder than that, because I felt like I you know, honestly, and Carla knows, with Carla, I felt like we took the fight too soon. Like Carla just coming out of
Joanna and Dallas?
Yep.
Okay.
Coming out, and she was like, I kind of wanted to take a break because she was just coming out of the Tough House, and then we were all.
She got pulled in every direction.
She got pulled everywhere, and you know, looking back on it, and that's kind of why I've kind of changed things. Is we should have waited a bit for Carla on that one, and you know, Carla made the decision. It was her call, but I think she was trying to please the UFC and show that she was a company person, you know, and.
All right, let's take this break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Got a couple more questions here for our guest, Brian Butler, manager to many superstars like Max Holloway, Douglas Lima, Felice Herrig, Jermaine Durandamy, and of course Carla Esparza. We also have Anthony Birchak here co-hosting with us. He'll be fighting at Ryzen FF, their 2017 Bantamweight Grand Prix, and that fight's coming up on July 30th. He'll be leaving tomorrow. So we'll be back to close up shop. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close.
They were forged from the same ball sack, but act as though they've never met. They are the brothers Garcia, Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, Sirius XM audience, we're going to be leaving you in a couple minutes. The whole show is available on the Sirius XM app. Get it, you'll love it. It's commercial free and in HD quality. And that goes for many of the shows on our network, such as The Countdown with Michael Bisping and Louis J. Gomez, Toe to Toe with Brian Stan, and of course the Luke Thomas show. So you'll really dig it. Lots of MMA stuff going on. We have boxing shows, pro wrestling shows, so definitely should be on your favorites, the SiriusXM Rush 93 channel. Anthony, you good on time?
But I ain't got nothing to do.
All right, just checking.
I spar at 3:30.
Was there some mitts or something to be hit, or did that already occur?
I cleared my schedule.
Just want to make sure you're in that Grand Prix.
I cleared my schedule.
I want you to hit that Grand Prix. That's a big payday. That's waiting.
I'm good. Yeah.
All right, and then Brian, you're okay on time?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So let me ask you about.
Ask him about hitting mitts. He does that.
Got any mitts to hit today?
Yeah. Do you never seen him put the gloves on? He's smacking fools.
Let's talk about Felice. She just got her 3rd win in a row. Her second opponent that she gave her first L to. But then afterwards, it was pretty sad to see her in that state, because she's such a happy-go-lucky person. Of course, Goz and I spent a few days with her in Virginia before this fight camp. So, I mean, we got to see a bubbly Felice, a happy Felice who had a great trip and, took all that energy and spirit into her camp. And so we were openly rooting for her. But then, she talked about feeling that, I guess, maybe left out, not young and pretty enough. And look, Felice is very pretty, there are younger strawweights, I understand that, but I don't know that 32 seems to be that some sort of over the hill number in any way. So what do you think happened there?
I think a lot of people took it the wrong way. I was like, oh, woe is me, I'm looking for attention, I'm not pretty enough. That's not what she meant. What she meant is, because she talks in a method, in a way where she feels everybody already knows all the little nuances of what got her there, and that's often not the case, and I'm always telling her that. But she was saying it basically because I even had talks with the UFC about it, and they didn't know. The UFC is so big now, there's so many different departments, that they didn't realize that it was the 50 things that happened to her combined that made her feel this way, not the 1 or 2 isolated things that each department may know of. Like, what? They only did, it's only one thing. Why would she feel like that because of that? Well, it's not because of that. It's because of that, and that, So once I painted that picture for them, they were like, okay, we see. And the UFC has actually been, over the past couple of weeks since her fight, has been, calling and making sure that they definitely don't want her to feel that way. But, I mean, what made her feel that way, and I'll run through a quick list, is...
Hang on to that list. We're just going to do a soft exit. It's only going to take me about 20 seconds, and then we'll go through that, and that, because I'm curious, I'm glad to hear also that the UFC acknowledged. The UFC just acknowledged the way Cyborg's been handled, so I like hearing that from the top organization in the world. Folks, this is a soft ending. If you pull over your car, wherever you may be watching, you can always go to facebook.com/official MMA Junkie or youtube.com/MMA Junkie video for some overtime. SiriusXM audience will join you tomorrow.
Toss me my very last dime. If I wind up broke, well, I'll always remember that I had a swing in time. I'm gonna give it everything I've got.
Guys are clear for overtime.
And quick note about tomorrow, Tony Ferguson, who's scheduled to be on today's show, will be on tomorrow. Frank Trigg will be co-hosting in studio. We'll also have Carlos Silva, the president of PFL, joining us back on the show. All right, Brian, you were telling us about Felice. Can you share what that was? I guess the hiccups that happened.
Well, ever since she took the year off after she fought Paige to get her body and chemicals and all that back in line, which I feel since she's come back, you can see that it wasn't an excuse. Everybody's saying, oh, I had problems, I had this, but there's obviously a difference in her performance since she's come back. She's destroyed, she's won 3 very good fights. When she came back, she fought Kylan Kern, and the first thing was, Kylan is also a beautiful girl, and Kylan was coming off 2 losses, I think, and at the time, Kylan, coming off the 2 losses, got a brand new contract to make twice what Felice was making to fight Felice. And then Kylan was the one that was being pushed in the media out in the front side of the, road to the octagons or whatever it was. So it seemed like it was a heavy push on Kylan, even though she was coming off 2 losses. And why was this girl making twice the amount Felice was? So Felice goes out there and finishes her, I think, in record time for the division, and makes the same amount of money as Kylan for losing the fight. So that's number 1, And then from there, the next fight we get is, I hope we're keeping it in order, Alexa Grasso, I believe.
Yep.
And then, Grasso is 1 fight in the UFC, she is rumored to have been on a UFC development deal where they were paying her, supplementing her purses and stuff like that through Invicta, or paying her monthly to train and this and that. And I get it. They're trying to reach out to the Hispanic market, but Grasso was also, with only one fight in the UFC, ranked above Felice, and then put out in the front of the posters, and also getting sent out to do all like the cool mainstream media, like going to the basketball games and shooting the ball and this and that. And they asked Felice to do an appearance at Buffalo Wild Wings in Illinois is the only thing she got, things like that. So it just seemed like Alexa was getting the push there, and then Felice goes and beats Alexa, I think pretty convincingly. And then after that, we get a call. We wanted Michelle Watterson. They gave us the fight. We were sitting on it for a couple of weeks waiting for the bout agreement. We were told the fight was on, and then a couple of weeks later, we're told that the fight is pulled. They decided to give the fight to Paige, because they thought it would be, a better marketable fight. So these things are compiling up and, making her feel that way. And then there's a couple other things that
and Paige and Alexa are two of the younger strawweights.
Two of the younger strawweights, yeah. And then we get fight Justine, who, because she's might not be the young and up and coming this and that, there's really no push behind that fight, and she goes out there and, again, gets a convincing win. And it just seems like if in our opinion, I can't state it as a fact, but in our opinion, if it was Michelle fighting Justine or Paige fighting Justine or something like that, there would be definite people who know that fight is on the card, So, like I said, but I feel like Felice is in a good position. She's been proving herself now as a fighter, as opposed to just a
face,
as a face, or a sex symbol or whatever it is that. So she's proving she can fight. So,
what gets me in the promotion of her is they always talk to her as if when they introduce her as either a striker or a grappler, but she can do it all, really, when you think about it.
Her wrestling has improved so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's got a great jiu-jitsu coach. She's amazing Muay Thai striker. But just watching her camp for this Kish camp, her double leg shots as a wrestler, that's what I look for. Is how can you I think and that's what I told Felice at the last fight was, I think a Muay Thai fighter with great wrestling, defense, offense, that's the shark of MMA. You don't have to evolve after that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of Chuck Liddell sprawl and brawl. Yeah. I'm gonna defend the takedown, and then I'm gonna knock you out. Yeah. But I mean, she's proved she's versed in jiu-jitsu. Her wrestling's greatly improved, and I mean, her striking is her bread and butter.
How about the fact that between rounds she was telling her corner she was tired, and obviously you could see her slowing down, but still, Kish, who's very strong, very athletic, when they locked up a couple times, Felice should have wound up on the bottom, but she had all this, like a lot of heart and resolve, and she was actually winning some of those grappling exchanges. And I was watching them going, wow, like literally this was so key to the fight, to have that kind of like I said, that inner strength, you know what I mean? Felice, and to want it. And nothing against Kish, because she's a beast. I think she can be a good fighter going forward. But man, Felice really impressed me in those exchanges, especially in that third round, man, because I thought, if Kish gets on top, she needs
it could be a boring round.
She either needs a 10-8 or she needs to finish the round. It could be curtains, and Felice would not let her do it. And it happened like 2 or 3 times, man. I was very, very impressed.
Felice has heart. The problem with Felice is that she doesn't actually know how strong she is. She doesn't believe she's as strong as she is. And we keep telling her, I was like, Felice, you're one of the strongest girls in the division. I guarantee you go into a strength and conditioning class, you're going to outperform most of the girls in your division. You're a very strong girl. So when she was in between rounds, she's like, she's strong. I'm like, Felice, she's not doing anything to you.
Yep.
You're outperforming her everywhere it goes, and she did. And Justine, you're right. She's a lot of the girls in the Tough House were scared of Justine because of her size and her strength. And
I think that's a common misconception, though. Bigger's better, and in fighting, like, I'm not as big as a house. You know what I mean? But I understand, my body archetype versus something like if you look at the division, right, and you got little short pit bull girls that are built like brick shit houses, and then you got someone like Felice who's long and slender but understands how to frame and move and use jiu-jitsu, properly, how it's supposed to be, intended to be in a combat sport. A skinny person can look good.
Yeah.
Brian, so you were there. Not to make light of it, but it was big news. But this whole thing that happened with Keish and the accident that she had, that fight should have stopped the minute that happened. Did you guys as a corner alert the ref to what had happened? Did you notice it? Did
it happened at the end of the fight, didn't it?
It was pretty close to the end, but there's no need to be grappling someone else in their doo-doo. You know what I mean? The fight should have been immediately stopped. But if the ref didn't see it, because there's images of the ref not seeing it, but if you guys did and alerted him, then he made a mistake.
We didn't see it. I didn't see it.
I see.
You know, Felice came after the fight. She came running over, and I was at the gate, and she was like, you know, there was an accident. You know, let's just and I was like, what? And I was like, she's like, there was a, you know, she did her thing, and she pointed down to her foot, and I was like, oh, like, oh wow, okay, so you know, it is what it is, you know. But like I said, it's, you know, Justine, as I feel bad.
Me too.
That it happened.
Yeah.
Just because Justine's actually a really nice girl. I like her. You know, I'm friends with her, and
she owned it. You know, so
she owned it.
Her tweet was awesome.
She's the best you could have done in this situation. The best you could have done. So
you know,
and Felice doesn't really want to continue to talk about it, because if it was the other way around, I couldn't even imagine, and she couldn't either. So she's kind of not been, you know, standing on.
The question I had was, how did it get cleaned up? Because when they do like excessive amounts of blood, they just spray over it with that spray paint.
Did they clean it? There was no more.
I mean, I saw other like commissioners stepping in it and tracking it around, and I was just like, how did that get cleaned?
Who knows?
Because there was like 7 fights after that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
All right, Douglas Lima. That run he's been on has been pretty damn impressive. To beat Daly, to beat Korshkov, to beat Larkin. I mean, that is a run right there. You know what I mean?
A healthy
very
Douglas
impressive.
Lima is a champion threat.
Scary
in promotion.
Scary.
His confidence level too, because when he comes on the show, he tells you exactly what he's going to do. He's so chill about it, and then he goes and he does it.
So these things that I'm hearing about, like Ben Askren wanting to come back to Bellator and like solving that issue, like how would you handle that?
If Ben wanted to come back?
Yeah.
I mean,
because I want to say.
Well, what did you hear? He wants to solve what issue?
He said, like that if they loaned him out to come back to Bellator and you know show that he's really the truest 170 pounder at that. I want to see that fight again, man. Yeah. That's something that I definitely want to see again, because I'm a huge Lima fan and I'm a huge Askren fan. I'm a wrestler, but at the same time, like.
What is next? Have you heard anything, Rory, or have you heard that name floated around, Askren?
We've heard it floated around. We're actually in the process of also redoing Douglas's deal, so. You know, as soon as we get that sorted out, I'm sure Rory's probably going to be next, but nothing is set in stone yet. But I mean, that's the one that makes sense, I think.
Yeah, but I do like that Askren spin.
They
fought once before.
Yeah,
their careers have definitely taken a new
Douglas
turn.
Is just now healthy though. He's had several complications with his knees and has had multiple surgeries on them, and is just now, you know, healthy. So I think that a healthy Douglas Lima is a big problem.
For sure.
And to finish out, Felice, do we know what's next for her?
We don't yet. You know, she is obviously, you know, she would like a couple of people, but, you know, she's not really going to try to call anybody out because she's kind of over the part that she's not really ever going to get, you know.
Is she due for a bump and raise? Because let me tell you something. She's got a powerful social media. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the other thing. Well, you know, going back to her other argument, if you know, as far as popularity goes, she's got over 1 million on Facebook, and you know, she's got a great following on Instagram and Twitter. Everybody that she's fought that was seeming like they were getting the push, she had stronger followings there then. So, again, another little nuance to the whole thing. I don't know what's next for her yet, though. We'll sit down, and I think she's gonna wait, enjoy her summer a little bit.
All right. Anybody else on the roster that you want to talk about that might have something going on? Or I imagine you're here for the Contender Series?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got Kurt Hollabaugh in the main event there. Okay. I've got Boston Salmon, who's local here.
Oh, that's your guy?
Yeah,
cool.
Teammate like Dan Ige and Boston Salmon, two of my teammates, right?
Too.
Yeah.
And then we got Manny Vasquez as well fighting. So we actually total have 10 people signed up for that show, but 3 on this first episode.
Busy times.
Busy times.
Well, congrats, and thanks for stopping by and hanging out and updating us on the clients there.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Anthony, Want to wish you the best of luck with whatever training sessions you have left. Safe travels to Tokyo, Japan.
Thank you guys, man.
Like we told you the other day, man. Good luck.
Thank
we'll be riding with you.
Thank you. Make sure you guys all tune in. Fight.tv, FITE.tv. It's like $14.99 pay-per-view, and I'll be fighting Takafumi Otsuka July 30th in the first round of the Ryzen 135 Grand Prix.
Yeah. We got to take one call because he's been holding forever, and then we'll finish. Oriole from Alberta, Canada. What's up, Oriole?
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call.
Yep.
Hey, I was just wondering, when you saw Justin Gaethje with that fight of the year, and he didn't come to your show, instead he went to the MMA Hour, even though you've given him way more coverage, does that bother you a little bit?
No, because on Mondays we like to come in. See, Ariel's show is based on, getting the names that were kind of involved in the past week and, expanding on whatever's been happening. And he does, to his credit, there's news that's broken. But that's a show that doesn't take calls anymore. They do kind of do some social media hashtag stuff. But on our show, people want to call in on Monday and recap all the stuff that happened the previous Hall of Fame, which we haven't even gotten to the Hall of Fame yet.
I know, right?
The Nunes stuff, the Whitaker and Romero. So honestly, Monday, in a perfect scenario, I almost want no guests, unless it's a guest that's involved in one of these. But that really wasn't your question. But your question would have been like, I guess I'd have to reach out for Gaethje to say, no, I'd rather do this other one, or I'll do his first, or yours first, or whatever. And I didn't because, like I said, I would prefer Mondays to give you guys the opportunity to call in and talk, and then us kind of cover all the news and give our reactions, because we're holding on to that, man, for Saturday. What's 140 characters going to do? You can't explain the whole night. You want to talk about everything, you know what I mean? So we want to come in here on Monday and do that, and then you'll notice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we start coming in with more of the guests. So that didn't happen in this instance. Huh?
I just feel like you guys don't get enough credit. Like, you break so many fighters that aren't famous, and then when they blow up, you don't get any excuses. Like Kevin Lee, he didn't, biggest one of his career. You've had him before. He was on the prelims. Nothing happened. Like, you guys broke Conor McGregor.
All right, here's
in Cage Rage.
Well, no, when Conor was on Cage Warriors, you're right. We did have him on a lot, and we did have him on a couple times with the UFC. But here's the other thing with Kevin, for example. Kevin Lee, when he won, what did he do? He immediately threw on the headset and did Fox Sports. Then he went in the back and did, the press conference with all the media. And on top of that, he's already talking to Stan or Rogan or Anik or whoever's there. So by the time you get it, like if you're watching it, he's kind of saying the same stuff over and over. So come Monday, it's just kind of almost going to be the same stuff over and over, aside from maybe, I ran into Chiesa at the airport or something that may happen in between then. I'd rather wait and let things shake out and then let Kevin update us on the previous week. By then, he may have sat down with Dana White, or by then, something else may have happened. So a lot of times it's like there's really no point in that. I feel like a lot of it's the same stuff we've seen over and over.
Oh, okay. Well, like you have Anthony on, right?
Yes.
If he wins the Grand Prix,
when?
You don't think
when?
to get like that? When?
If he wins the Grand Prix, this is it. This is the last time. I don't think we'll get him again.
Yeah, no, that's.
I can already see that
I won't come back.
He'll be calling ESPN.
I'm gonna act super brand new.
Yeah.
Jordan, what?
Pay full price at his food truck.
Yep, exactly. Full price. Full price at the food truck.
Nah, but look, when Max won, we got him. Remember we got Max when he won in Brazil. He came on the show like either the day of that he landed in Hawaii or the day after. I can't remember, but pretty much right away. So, like I say, on some of them, man, it works out. On some of them, it doesn't. But most of the time, we want to just kind of talk about the fights on a Monday that follows. But listen, my man, we already went OT enough. Thanks for calling in, Oreo. We appreciate it, all right?
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, brother. See ya.
Hey, one last thing. Speaking of Hall of Fame, Jens Pulver. What the hell?
That's right. It's gonna happen.
Kevin Randleman, Jens Pulver, Frank Shamrock. There's a few of them that need to get in there for sure. What? I thought that was maybe gonna be.
It was supposed to. Flew Jens out here to meet him and get it all sorted out, but it didn't happen this year. So hopefully next year. We're gonna keep talking about it though. The guy deserves it.
Thanks for the time. for coming in. Thank you for the time for coming in.
For sure. Thanks for
Folks,
having me.
we're out of
I
here
appreciate
tomorrow.
it.
Frank Trigg co-hosting in studio. We'll also have Tony Ferguson. For Anthony, Brian, Danny Beck East, Goes, I'm George. Have a nice day. Be champions.